What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of the Variety Views. I'm your host, the Variety Vendor, and I'm here to review The Incredible Hulk, the second installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, they tried to start the Marvel Cinematic Universe back in 2003 with Hulk, that was directed by Ang Lee. And this is a pseudo sequel to it. There are references to that movie, despite them completely changing the characters and changing the cast for this, for this movie. And it is sort of a sequel, but at the same time, it's also a reboot. And this is when they said, "All right, scrap that, and this is it. This is the movie that we want to have as the second installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe." Now, this is a movie that I think is very underrated. It's a really good movie. I really enjoyed Edward Norton as the Hulk. I think that he plays that character very well. He gives the soft side of Bruce Banner, and also the soft side of the Hulk, where you see that he's conflicted, and that's part of the CGI. And I do think that they give the Hulk character a lot of humanity. That when he becomes the Hulk, there's a lot of humanity, but it's a little bit turned to it's turned to 11 because of all the emotions going through, and it's like whatever feeling he gets, it's on steroids. Whether it's anger, whether it's him being upset, whether he's lashing out, whatever it is, you see it. You see it in the character more than ever in this Hulk. Now, there are things that don't, I feel like don't hold up after 12 years. And of course, there have been a lot of leaps and bounds in technology, but at the same time, I do think that the character itself is so good. The whole character is so good, and the action scenes are so good. You kind of give it a pass of like how the CGI is not that great and doesn't hold up in 2020. So there's a lot of things in this movie that is so cool that you kind of give it a pass. I really like the look of the Incredible Hulk. I love the story that Edward Norton's character Bruce Banner goes through. I think Bruce Banner in here, you feel for him more than anything else, and in a way it kind of again, I'll go back to Batman Begins, where there's a lot of things I feel like it does borrow from Batman Begins, where and much like Iron Man, where Bruce Banner pretty much has to leave the country to find himself. Yes, he is running away from the law, and in Iron Man was taken against his will, but at the same time, when you take them out of their environment, that's when they find themselves. And I love the whole idea of Bruce kind of trying to adapt in different places, and I wish they would have expanded on that. I wish also that they would have shown Bruce kind of learning how to really control his anger, because there were many scenes where he would go to places where they would teach him how to keep his anger levels low. And I wish they would have expanded on that. I wish there were a lot of scenes where he's actually training, where he maybe even martial arts or anything like that to help him compose himself. Maybe doing a little bit of yoga, all that sort of stuff. I would have loved to seen more of that. But just when it gets interesting, they take you to a different location where it becomes kind of like enemy of the state. And not saying that that's bad. It's just that I wish that there was more of Bruce Banner in Brazil, because I thought that was one of the more interesting parts in the film. But when it changes to a different movie, it doesn't go downhill. It never lets up. It always changes scenery. It always changes its pace. It goes from being completely action packed and just, crazy, to being, very soft and very emotional. And then it goes to a different level. It goes to comedic. It goes to so many levels that you kind of feel discombobulated, to the point where I kind of understand why it wasn't everybody else's cup of tea. But for me, I was thoroughly entertained. And again, this movie, clocks in about, close to 2 hours. Not it's barely an hour and 45 minutes, and it tells a great story. And there's an amazing arc with Edward Norton's character Bruce Banner going from, blaming himself and thinking that he's the worst, to accepting himself at the very end, and him, coming to terms, with Betty, and it just it works. I feel that the relationship from Edward Norton's side, it works. I feel like Bruce Banner, and I keep saying Edward Norton because, of course, he gets recasted. And it's such a shame, because I think that he could have done so much more in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Bruce Banner. Now, with Bruce Banner, the only thing that I didn't like was Betty Ross in this movie. And I think that Betty and Bruce didn't have that much of a connection in this movie. I think, if anything, then the Ang Lee, Hulk, they had a better chemistry than here. With Betty Ross here, it just felt, it didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel like this was the correct path for Bruce Banner. I think that they could have done so much more, where maybe even Bruce Banner at the very end, is accepting to the idea of letting Betty go, because he's just completely gone off the rails. He doesn't want to hurt her. He doesn't want to turn into the Hulk again. And I think that would have been, it would have been a sad but bittersweet ending for him to go off. And maybe you could have had, the Shield, at the very end, with Nick Fury taking the Hulk away, and him saying goodbye to Betty Ross, because we don't see Betty Ross ever again in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is another shame, because I think that she is a good character. It's just that she's not played very well. So that's all I gotta say about that. My rating for this movie, I would give it I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think that it's a good movie. It's got a really good action. I like the villains. I like, General Ross. I think that General Ross is a good character, and I think that there's so much for this character to do later on down the line. And I really like also Tim Roth's character, who eventually turns into the Abomination. I really like that character. And I think that, Samuel Stearns, the guy that is trying to help Bruce Banner sustain he's trying to get the cure for Bruce Banner from becoming the Hulk, and and pretty much take away the Hulk genes. And I really think that the character was great, and there was at the very close to the end, I think that he was supposed to turn into another Abomination to fight against. To fight against Bruce Banner, to become like another villain, maybe a smart villain or something like that. I liked his character, but at the same time, I do feel it was wasted in this movie. I feel like the arc, I feel like the storyline, the side story of Bruce Banner trying to find a cure, it was good, but at the same time, I feel like it was wasted. I feel like it was going on the right path, but by the end, it just felt meaningless. Like it didn't matter. But I guess the whole point of it was like seeds of a future villain in the Hulk movies. And it's a shame that we never got any more Hulk movies. I would love to see another standalone Hulk movie. So that's all I got to say about this. And like I said, my rating for it is 7 out of 10. And right now, as it stands, the Hulk is the second best movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when it comes to my rankings. And be sure to check out my next video where I'll be talking about Iron Man 2. And that's coming up very, very soon. And with that being said, rate, comment, favorite. If you haven't, please subscribe. Share with your friends. Share with everybody. And check out my next video where I'll be talking about something else. Take care.